So in this problem, we have a wall and a ceiling and a picture hanging. Behind the picture is a wire at 30-degree angle and a wire at 180-degree angle. We'll call this wire 1. We'll call this wire 2. And the only other thing you know about the problem is that the mass of the picture is 10 kilograms. And so you need to find out what the force of tension is on wire 1 and what the force of tension is on wire 2. So the first thing we're going to do is F baby G, force due to gravity. So you take your 10 kilograms, you multiply it by negative 9.81. So negative 98.1 newtons. And so you know that the picture's not moving, so the net force has to be 0, and so the upward force, wherever that is in my wires, has to equal 98.1. Otherwise the picture would be moving. Well, you can tell by your wires that there's no upward movement in wire 2, but there is upward force in wire 1. And so you know this has to be 98.1 newtons. Has to be, otherwise the picture would be moving, and that's the only upward force in the whole diagram. And so you also know that whatever this force equals is going to be the same as this wire, because my picture isn't moving back and forth from left to right either. So really, with just a couple short calculations, we can have the tension in this problem pretty easily. So
please go outside the cafeteria and wait for the bus if you're waiting for bus 280.
awesome. So bus 280, wait outside the cafeteria. So 30-degree angle. And so you can use your trig and say that I know that the sine of 30 degrees has to equal 98.1 over the hypotenuse. And so to solve for the hypotenuse, I just have to do some quick calculations here. And so now to get the hypotenuse alone, I divide each side by sine of 30. So my hypotenuse is 98.1 divided by sine of 30. So do that calculation real quick. 98.1 divided by sine of 30. And so you now know that the hypotenuse, or the force of tension in wire 1, is going to be equal to 196.2 newtons. And so all that's left is to do the exact same calculation, only now we're trying to find cosine. And so the cosine of 30 is equal to adjacent, which we don't know, over hypotenuse, which we just found to be 196.2. And so multiply each side by 196.2. And so 196.2 cosine of 30 gives you 169.91 newtons, meaning the force of tension on wire 2 has to equal 169.91 newtons. Now we're in equilibrium. If you add all the horizontal forces together, it'll get 0. If you add all the vertical forces together, you'll get 0. Perfect. That's it. Goodbye.